All right, welcome everybody. Can you hear me out there okay? So my name is Greg Stone. I'm the program director of the Volunteers of America Men's Residential Center. We are an alcohol and drug treatment program located just across the street over here. And it's my distinct honor to be here and welcome all the recipients of the scholarships. We have about 9 folks in person. I think we have 20 some virtual. And welcome each of you and your families. It's truly all the folks that are here that are not family members are here to support you and to recognize you tonight and support you as you go through college. So I'm going to tell you just a bit about how the scholarship got started and some thank yous to start out tonight. So first off, I want to recognize all the judges and donors who support the scholarship. It takes a lot of work to help this run smoothly, and many people put in a lot of hours throughout the years to support it both financially and then reading the essays in February. And much appreciation to them. So we can have those folks stand up and give them a loud round of applause. And then second, I want to recognize one of our keynote speakers tonight, Chip Shields, former state senator. Chip was actually a social work intern with our program back in 2001, 2, was it? Yeah. And Chip actually had the honor of being in the process group as when Al Forthan was the facilitator. Chip had the honor to learn under Al. So he's going to be sharing part of his story and his experience with Al tonight. So thank you so much. And Chip has been an extremely generous supporter of the scholarship over the years. Second, another generous supporter and wonderful friend of the scholarship is Luke Jackson. Luke is a former NBA basketball player, University of Oregon player. So if you're a big sports fan, much appreciation to Luke. And then I want to recognize Al's sponsor, Herman Gowdy. Herman's been a big fan of the scholarship and has a long history going back with Big Al. So much love and appreciation to you, Herman. And then I'd like to recognize our CEO president from Volunteers of America, Kay Tran. Kay's been a very strong supporter of the scholarship in the sense of allowing us to have all the money go seamlessly through to the scholarship. Obviously, for any nonprofit, you need money to fund administration, but Kay generously has allowed us to have all the money go straight to the kids. So truly appreciate that, Kay. Thank you very much. And then the person that makes this work on a day in and day out basis is Tessa Fowler. Tessa just has a wonderful heart. So much appreciation to you, Tessa, for all the hard work you do day in and day out to make this run smoothly. And you do a phenomenal job, so thank you. The scholarship's all about making the dreams come true for kids who come from families where life has not been so fair to them. And, when I started the Men's Residential Center in 1990, Al came into our program in 1992 and came in, with some pretty rough edges around him. Had a 25-year run as a heroin addict, had been in and out of prison 9 different times. And he chose recovery for the first time in his life. And he then came back as an intern through the Portland Community College Alcohol and Drug Counselor Program in 1995, became the first former client hired to work for us. And Al passed away in 2006 with 14 years clean time. So the day after his service, I basically started this scholarship with $500 out of my pocket. And for me, it's a pretty phenomenal year this year because we've reached $1 million. So it's a great way. A great way to honor Al's amazing legacy and all that he's done through the service community of addiction recovery for so many people, and just to truly give back to each of these students. So I'm going to tell you, the financial part is obviously an essential part of the scholarship. We know that, university colleges are extremely expensive. But for any of us who grew up with a family impacted by addiction, we know the emotional baggage that comes with that. And so what we want to know for each of these students is you're part of a community now that's going to believe in you for the rest of your life. And for me, that's really the symbol of who Al Forthan is that part of recovery, that he's going to never give up on you. The scholarship's never going to give up on you. So that's why these folks are here tonight to, basically recognize you, support you, and honor you in this part of trying to give you financial support, but letting you know that you're part of a much larger community. Because for kids who grow up with addiction and with their parents, you know, you're often feel you're alone by yourself, and it's a tough place to be. I was one of those kids who grew up that way, and that's why for me it's so deep in my heart to basically be a part of this kind of changing the process of life for folks and being there for you. We also want to promote awareness about addiction, about racial and social justice, and we always want to remember Al's legacy, what he gave back to our community. So that brings us to, is life fair? Who thinks life's fair? Life can be either way. Obviously, I think there's parts of life that are extremely fair, parts that aren't so fair. And we know that, like I said, if you grew up in one of those families, life probably was not too fair for you. And for the clients I work with, they get pretty good about not being fair back to life. But what the scholarship's all about is about breaking that cycle so you don't have to go back and be unfair to life. You can break that cycle coming out of high school, going on to college, and being of service and helping to make change in our community. And that's what Al would want. That's what the scholarships wants for each of you. So we know that we can make life a better place. I love being a social worker because it's all about making life more fair, changing systems to be more just, more fair. And that's really what we're about with the Al Forthan Scholarship. Now I'm going to talk about two of my favorite people. And they're not my favorite people because they're both University of Oregon fans. If you know me, I'm about as big of a Beaver fan as you're ever going to meet. So we're going to move on from this slide. I thought about trying to make it yellow and green for the colors, but it just doesn't work that well. But two amazing human beings, and like I said, two of my most favorite people that I know. And they have many things in common, really a parallel journey. So Al, like I said, he came from a family with a lot of trauma. Austin Raglione, who's been a phenomenal supporter of the scholarship, came from a childhood of trauma. They both moved into a lifestyle of addiction, both moved into a lifestyle of recovery, and they both have had some significant health challenges. Al died from COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder. Austin struggling with cancer. But they both have taken those life experiences and they both chose to be of service. And that's what the scholarship really represents, is that you basically have had some tough knocks in life. Life wasn't fair, but then you choose to change, to become a person of service to make the world more fair. And, if you think about it, it's like when Steve Dean, who's, been a great supporter of the scholarship, he wrote an article about 3 weeks ago about Austin in the scholarship and about how an endowment we're trying to create. And Steve and I were talking on the phone, and Steve said, hey, if it was me, Greg, with that level of cancer, I'd probably just give up and call it a day, go hang out with my kids. But Austin has chosen the exact opposite. She basically has chosen to dedicate her life to the scholarship and trying to help you kids. It's always been my dream to get an endowment for the scholarship because, it's like I want to see this thing going for the rest. When I'm dead and gone, for me it's so important. But for Austin to do what she's done, it's been such a gift to this community of students and future students, and much appreciation, Austin. So it's my true honor to recognize Austin with our very first Al Forthan Scholarship Spirit Award. And what it speaks to is Austin's courage and resilience, all the things that she grew up with, the struggles that she's had with her cancer, but to have the resilience in her heart to be of service to our community. So come on up, Austin. So we'll turn it over to Austin and let her say a few words. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to. Okay, wow. Thank you, Greg. I've never had anyone cry when they introduced me before, so that was really moving and very sweet, and I'm very touched and very grateful. I just want to say a few things of thanks. You know, to put together this endowment required the help of a lot of people. Greg certainly was the cornerstone of that, helping get it started. I think Greg is one of the most amazing people on the earth. I really do. We have apparently a secret admiration society that we've got going here, but the thing about Greg is that he is a tireless champion for these kids who've been affected by addiction, and a tireless champion for people who have been hurt by life. And I just think that that is, it is just a gift to have, to know him. Where are you, Greg? Oh, there you are. I was like, and I just want to say that, you know, you started this program 17 years ago with $500. And since then, I saw up there, 585 kids have received scholarships and $1 million has been granted. Can you just get your head around how many lives your effort has transformed in terms of giving the gift of college to these kids? It's just remarkable. And it's just an honor to work side by side with you. So thank you. I also wanted to thank Tessa and Brian, who have worked at the VOA to make all of this work seamlessly, put all the pieces together. It's complicated to put together an endowment when you don't have one. And they did all of the work that was necessary to make that happen. And they're really fun to work with. So that was really cool. So thank you. And then again, Kay, you know, I just am so appreciative of your generosity in allowing us to give every dollar raised to the kids. That is significant and huge, and I'm so deeply grateful. We also received help in the form of Steve Dean, who is an award-winning columnist for the Oregonian, and he wrote about the Forthan Scholarship Fund, not once but twice. And this last version that he wrote, it generated in the next 2 days over 50 contributions, from $25 to $2,500, and those donations came from the heart, and they came from the words that Steve wrote. And I just want to tell you how deeply grateful I am that you care so much about this scholarship fund. I know it's personal for you, and I appreciate that, and I admire you very much. We have a diverse community of donors, and we have some of them here tonight. And so I want to introduce them. They're my family. I didn't coerce them. They did it voluntarily. But I have my son, Kyle. My daughter, Gabby, is watching virtually. And my daughter-in-law, Allison, my sister, Fabian, and my 2 grandchildren, Cameron and Kingston, who, shout out to Kingston, he's 5 today. And then my best friend, Cynthia, who helped really get the momentum going on this. But tonight is all about you guys, you students, those of you who are receiving the scholarships. And I know you're going to have a chance to talk, and other people will talk too. But I just wanted to say that I have so much admiration for you who have had to struggle with the impacts of addiction in your home, and you who have risen above the pain and suffering to stand with pride and courage, and you who have taken hold of your life with strength and resilience. So today we are honoring your strength and courage, your commitment to your education, your acts of service to the community, your passion for life and a better future. As Greg mentioned, I've been fighting cancer for 7 years. And while we were working on putting together the endowment, there were days when my chemotherapy made me too sick and too tired, and I didn't want to do the endowment anymore. And it was just like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And then I'd think about you guys, and I'd think about the essays that I read and the stories you had to tell and the courage that you exhibited to rise above that and be able and to be here tonight is just phenomenal. I am so proud of you. And so I thought, well, for crying out loud, if they can do it, I can do it. So you were an inspiration to me every single step of the way. And I am honored to be in this room with you tonight to celebrate. I congratulate you with my whole heart. And I want to say that you are an inspiration to your friends, to your family, to your community, and to me. So thank you so much.
Well, hello, everyone. Was that not an inspiring, just an inspiring statement from Austin and from Greg? They make the beginning of this celebration this evening so wonderful. Let's give them another round of applause. I love this event, and I'm always so impressed with all the people who turn out to support the Scholarship Fund, but also to support the Men's Residential Center and Volunteers of America, Oregon. MRC has been so important in the lives of so many people in this community, in our city, and in our state. It's made a huge difference in people being able to get their lives back on track and to keep it on track. And when I talk to people about the importance of our treatment program and the significance of our treatment program, I say, you don't always see it, but you do. There are people in our community that are in very key positions who are alumni of this program. And when you speak to them, they talk about the importance of the program, the importance of knowing it's always there, even after they leave the physical facility. But they also talk about the fact that there's AA, and that if they ever feel like they are in trouble, they always believe that MRC is there for them to grab their hand, hold their hand, and get them back on track. So it's an important program to support, and a scholarship program to all of you young people out there. It's getting you an opportunity to keep your lives on track. Believe, believe, believe. You can turn not only your life around, but also the community. And this helping hand is a step in the right direction. So to all of the scholarship recipients that are out there, you want to stand and we'll give you an applause as a group. MRC is successful and effective because of Greg's leadership. And I want to talk a little bit about Greg. Greg has been just a steady leader for the entire time that I've been with VOA. He cares, he's passionate, he's a first-class professional. He makes sure that the people who come through that front door get the best in terms of the support and the professional intervention that's necessary for them to go into recovery and to stay in recovery. I always love listening to him because it is from the heart that that work is given to his clients and to his staff. But he's also a professional. He knows what the requirements are and for a professional program to make sure that they are successful and that he is effective with the service delivery system. Greg says to me whenever I bring it up, the fact that he's been here for a long time, I'm never going to retire. So I think we can believe it because every time I see him, it's just a light, a flaming light that he is excited, he cares, and he wants to be here and he wants to be the leader. With that, I'm going to ask Greg to come up to the stage, please. you don't know this is happening. We have a board member who shared with me, about a year ago or longer, that there's a special medallion that's made to give to employees or to give to individuals who've made a significant difference in the job that they're performing, in the role that they have in the organization, or just their role in the community. And he made a contribution so that VOA can have medallions to give to special people that do special work in our organization. Here's the medallion. And Greg, this is for you. Captain David Abelson, you want to stand? I had some comments about the scholarship fund, but I think Austin and Greg have done such a good job with that. Now I'd like to bring up our division director, Pam Kellett. And Greg.
Greg, we had to kind of keep this a surprise because we know you wouldn't like it. But we want to honor you tonight, and we couldn't think of a more perfect gift and tribute than a heart, because we know that that's what you lead with, is your heart at all times. And although we're here to honor Al, the exact same words that you describe Al with describe you. And I'd like to read those words. Both you and Al work from your heart and bring love, wisdom, integrity, humility, and a deep and uncompromising passion for recovery to others. And you have made such a profound difference in our community. And more than anyone that I know, you truly have lived and accomplished the mission of Volunteers of America. You truly, Greg, have changed lives. The millions, the thousands of men that you and your team have treated and helped recover and heal, those men all are precious members of families. And you are so conscious of that there are fathers and brothers and cousins and sons, and so many have children. And you know that when that horrendous cycle of addiction is being broken, that it means generational differences of avoiding untold misery and agony that those of us that have been in that situation as children have experienced. And your commitment to these young people that are here tonight and your passion has allowed you and your team to really single-handedly raise $1 million and give out 585 life-changing scholarships that are going to incredibly make a difference, not only in your lives, but also in our community, and has made a difference in our community. And I hope all of you are inspired by the example of Greg's life, as we are. As his colleagues, we are so inspired by his leadership. But the path you're on is a path that can bring you to this kind of service and this kind of a life. And we're just so grateful for you. And we're inspired by you, and we thank you, Greg. So can we all just please?
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg and Pam. We have with us this evening a keynote. I have to stand on my tippy toes because this podium is so high. We have on our keynote speaker today, another honorable person from our community. Senator Chip Shills is an individual who, when I met him, he had just founded a second chance criminal justice program called Better People. And his passion for believing that individuals who had made poor choices could turn their lives around with the right kind of support, right kind of intervention, and the right kind of tough accountability was almost limitless. He went on to become a senator in the Oregon legislature, and he served a couple of terms, then resigned, came back, because I believe he saw his work as being very active in the community. Senator Chip Shills is here with us tonight, and I want you to give him a rousing thank you for being here. Thank you for the work that he does, and welcome to the Forthan Scholarship Reception Fund.
I might not fare better on the podium than Kay did, actually, but thank you for those kind words, Kay. Also, Austin, I also want to appreciate your public service, as well as the fact that my child and I practically grew up at Mimosa Studios, your business, making arts and crafts. This evening, I want to say a few words about serenity. I want to share some words about Big Al Forthan, and I want to talk about preparation, opportunity, and goals larger than ourselves. When I was in the legislature, my freshman year, 2005, I was a freshman Democrat in the minority. And when the legislative session would open in the mornings, we would often have a poet laureate for opening ceremonies, a pastor to say a prayer. But on those mornings when we didn't have someone to say opening ceremonies, the speaker would say, today's opening ceremony will be a moment of silence. And having worked closely in the recovery community, I took that time to think about the serenity prayer. How many of you know the serenity prayer? Right? God, give us the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, right? When you are a freshman Democrat in the minority in a house run by Republicans, it's very important to know the serenity prayer. Because Oregon has a very strong speaker system, and the party in charge really runs the show. And so it got to the point I learned that really the best I could do often was to either kill bad bills or change them a little bit to make them less bad. So I thought, maybe there should be a serenity prayer for freshman Democrats in the minority that would go something like this: God, grant me the serenity to kill the bills I cannot change, the courage to change the bills I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And keeping the serenity prayer in mind and the legislature, I also wanted to recognize Representative Rob Nose, who's here with us in the back. If you can give him some appreciation. Rob has a heavyweight job with some heavyweight committees, and despite all of the work that he does on behalf of Oregonians, he still takes out the time to grade the essays for the Forthan Award. So let's give him some appreciation. So I've had the great privilege to be involved in some amazing nonprofit projects that help give serenity to others, whether as a state senator on the budget committee or with nonprofit job centers like the Employment Connection in St. Louis before I moved out here in the 90s, or the Youth Employment Institute, Oregon Tradeswomen, or Better People, the organization that Kay mentioned that we founded. But I can't think of any efforts I've been involved with that made me prouder than being part of the Volunteers of America family with Greg, Kay, and staff, and Pam, and being a donor to the Al Forthan Memorial Scholarship. I also, I was just talking to Luke over at the table. I said, Luke, there are a lot of nonprofits that look very good from far away, but you get a little closer and they don't look so good. The wonderful thing about VOA's Men's Residential Center, and that's what I have the most experience with, is the closer you get, it looks just as good up close as it does from far away. I've seen nonprofits where people are running around with their hair on fire, and everything at VOA, when I worked there in my practicum as a social work student, it was serene. It really was calm. People knew what was expected. There wasn't anger. There wasn't, inner strife between the staff. Greg ran a very professional ship, and he not only helped thousands of people enter recovery, but he also trained hundreds of social workers over the course of the years. One of the big problems at the Portland State Social Work School is that they can't find a practicum placement. And when they can, it's never any good. But I had a great practicum experience there, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. And by the way, my first informational interview when I moved to Portland was with Greg in 1996 when the floods were going on. So Al Forthan, Al was a big man with a big heart, and he left us too quickly, and we miss him. I was Al's student assistant in Volunteers of America's Men's Residential Center process groups. So around 10 a.m. on every Tuesday and Thursday, about 8 men would gather on these flannel couches that must have been made in the 1950s in Matt Simberski's office. And, you'd walk down the hall to get there, and Greg would have all of his, soccer player pictures all over the wall. And I remember he had a somebody's like, "You're obsessed with soccer." He's like, "No, I'm passionate about soccer." It's the difference. Big Al would put on smooth jazz to set the mood for serenity, and the clients would do their check-ins and process their feelings, all critical pieces to adapting the recovery lifestyle. And if any of you live in Northeast Portland and you see these really tough guys with tattoos walking down 7th Avenue into Irvington, and you wonder, what are these tough dudes doing? They're usually taking walks from around the men's residential center because they require exercise. But I remember two things I learned from Al. Once I heard Al say this, somebody from the process group kind of disappeared and dropped out, and one of the people in the process group was really worried, and they're like, "We got to go out there and save him. We know where he goes on the streets, and we're going to go out and save him." And Al said, "I tell you what, I'll be here to help you in your recovery. But if you decide to quit here and leave here, I'm not going out there looking for you. I'm not going out in the streets to look for you, because that will jeopardize my recovery." Very wise words from Al that can apply really to anyone's life. Wise words about setting boundaries with other people, right? And that you must take care of yourself first in order to take care of others later. I also remember one morning sitting on those couches with smooth jazz in the background and Al directing the discussions. And one VOA client said something I'll never forget. He said, he was processing, he said, "Al, when I came here, I had no intention at all of getting sober. I viewed this place as kind of like a spa where I could take a break, engage in some healthy living, get my body back in shape so that I can go back out there and continue to use. But I don't know, recovery just kind of happened." And that jumped at me. Recovery just kind of happened. And I guess that's what the recovery community means by keep coming back. That if you keep showing up, keep coming back, good things can happen, even if you're not really ready for them. But things happen easier for you if you're properly prepared. And so to you scholarship recipients, I'd like to share a couple thoughts on proper preparation, a couple thoughts on big goals, and a couple thoughts on opportunity. In the early 1990s, I worked for a job placement nonprofit in St. Louis that helped people who'd been in trouble with the law. It was called the Employment Connection. I had a colleague there named Gary Hall, rest his soul. Now, Gary had spent time behind bars, and when he got out, he eventually walked across that graduation stage at Lincoln University in Jefferson City to receive a college diploma. Very tall guy, and he became a very successful trainer despite having a stutter thereafter, because someone had given him a chance, an opportunity at a college education. And printed on a plaque at Gary's desk was one of his favorite sayings. And the wooden plaque read, "Just because you made a mistake doesn't mean that you are one." And hanging on the wall behind his desk in a frame was another saying on proper preparation. Gary called it the 5 Ps. Does anybody know what the 5 Ps stand for? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And here are some examples of what that means. Proper preparation prevents poor performance means being at class 45 minutes ahead of schedule in case your car tire blows out or your window's busted or your bus is late or your child's sick at the last minute. Proper preparation prevents poor performance means having two backups for childcare in case your primary childcare provider isn't available the day you need to be in class. It means not smoking or ingesting substances when you're looking for work and going to school, or better yet, quitting those substances altogether. And as someone who has seen the hippie band, the Grateful Dead, over 70 times, I can speak authoritatively that you should quit smoking weed. It won't do you any good. That's proper preparation preventing poor performance. But proper preparation by itself is not enough. You've got to have an opportunity. You've got to be given a chance. Someone once said that success is the intersection where preparation meets opportunity. And that's why I'm so appreciative that this Al Forthan Memorial Scholarship is giving so much opportunity to students like you. Because without an opportunity for an education, all the preparation in the world will not matter. And in closing, to the scholarship recipients, I want to leave you with this idea. Think about expanding your goals like Al would. Set goals that are larger than yourself, big goals that help others, big goals where you receive nothing in return. Dr. Ken Robinson created a cognitive behavioral therapy called MRT that we used at Better People, the nonprofit we started that was right down the street from VOA. And in this MRT workbook, Dr. Robinson wrote about goals. He wrote, "You must come to see that you really are connected to everyone else. You have to begin erasing the lines that separate you from others. You must begin to take responsibility for all things and see that you can make a difference in the world. To make a difference, you've got to understand that the only limitations that you have are those that you place on yourself. And by keeping your goals narrow, self-serving, and limited in scope, you are keeping yourself from becoming free." Dr. Robinson continued, quote, "It has been said that a person's job on earth is to find oneness with an intended purpose. To find oneness with an intended purpose. All else," he writes, "is a hobby, a diversion." If Big Al was here today, he'd be shaking his head in agreement. So to you scholarship recipients, I say good luck, Godspeed. Remember the 5 Ps. Remember that proper preparation prevents poor performance. Advance your goals, but also think of driving goals outside of yourself, goals that are bigger than yourselves, goals that help others. And if you do this, and if we all do this, particularly the part about setting goals that are bigger than ourselves, we can bring more serenity not only to our lives, but to our families' lives, and indeed the lives of this great city and the world. It's what Big Al would have wanted. Thank you for including me in this joyous occasion.
Hello, I'm Lily. I'm one of the scholarship recipients. So good evening. And firstly, I just want to express my gratitude for being awarded this scholarship. It's an honor to stand before you today, not only as a recipient of this generous scholarship, but also as a testament to resilience and the profound impact of choosing a different path. The Al Forthan Scholarship holds a special place in my heart. Al's life is such an inspiration for the way we should live. He walked through a very dark valley and courageously fought many battles to get out of a challenging place. On top of battling his own struggles, he pursued others who were walking through the same things and became determined to change his community in the area of addiction. His character of forgiveness, grace, and determination to change is how I hope you and I will choose to live like for the rest of our lives. I truly admire his selfless heart, and I can only hope to make half the impact that he has made on his community. I applied for this scholarship because I am passionate about making a change in my community in the area of addiction. I admire the impact of Al Forthan and how he has made an impact on students' lives like mine. Like many of you in the room and Al Forthan, my journey has been shaped by the shadows of addiction. Growing up, I witnessed firsthand devastating effects of substance abuse in my family. I will keep my story brief to honor those involved. Both of my biological parents have struggled with addiction, and they divorced when I was young. I, along with my sister, grew up in this environment. I could have easily taken this upbringing and walked down the same path as my parents, but I vowed to put an end to this family cycle and break the chains of addiction. It hurts my heart to see not only my story, but many other families torn apart by addiction, and I vow to never touch a substance during my life. I choose resilience, determination to be different, and hope. And today I stand before you as the student body president of my high school, the all-conference volleyball player of the year, valedictorian, leader of many school clubs, team captain, and an all-state player. I could not have done this without the radical recovery of both of my parents. My father and mother, both at separate times in my life, have decided to take the route of recovery and sobriety. Watching their resilience and life changes has pursued me to be the person that I am today. I am such a proud daughter, and I am so thankful for their choices. Although I'm beyond grateful for the financial burden that this scholarship has eased in my life, it means more to me than that. It is a reminder that despite all of our past, we have the potential to build a better future. With this scholarship, I will continue my education at Life Pacific University, playing volleyball at the collegiate level and pursuing a degree in business. My degree will give me the tools to make a positive impact in the lives of others, just like Al Forthan did. I am so grateful to continue the legacy of Al Forthan, and to all the other recipients in the room, let us continue to selflessly serve our communities just as he strived to do. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tatum Wilson. I'm a senior at Beaverton High School, and I'm a 2024 Al Forthan Scholar. I will be a first-generation college student. I'm a current peer leader for my school's Sources of Strength Club, which is a mental health advocacy and suicide prevention club. In addition, I'm a current associated student body leader for my Student Voice Committee. This is a group that helps promote positive culture and allows for marginalized voices to be heard. As a homeless student, I never believed that college was something I could achieve. But with the support of my school social workers, I was connected with resources that made me realize higher education was not only attainable, but necessary for me to break the cycle of generational trauma and addiction that runs in my family. Before, I did not have confidence in myself and my abilities. However, I now know that I'm a very capable person who has overcome a lot of obstacles that many people couldn't even imagine. That's why I don't let myself take anything for granted. I live in the moment as much as I can and take advantage of every opportunity I get to succeed. As a kid, I knew drugs were bad. I knew addiction ran deep through almost every branch of my family tree. Drugs had ruined my family, but it didn't stop me from being curious. I was 11 when I smoked my first cigarette, 12 when I smoked weed for the first time, and only 13 when I first tried meth. I had lost some of the purest years of my childhood to my parents' addiction, and here I was giving up the rest to my own. I knew something had to change. In middle school, I got busted with paraphernalia and they threatened to expel me. As a way to get out of the expulsion and help me get back on track, my family insisted I complete an inpatient treatment program at NARA, a Native American Rehabilitation Association. My family's drug use, combined with my personal experience, has reshaped my outlook on addiction. Every day there's people dying from this sickness, and every day less and less people care. They justify their indifference by claiming that it's their choice to live that life. But as a child of generational addiction, I'm here to say sometimes it's not. I was born into a family of addicts, and very few people in my life expected me to be anything more. Today, at only 18 years old, I celebrate 5 years of sobriety. To achieve this, I had to relearn everything I thought I knew about survival. And although I've exceeded every expectation set for me, it's important to acknowledge how many people lose in their fight against addiction. Many people choose to take the first hit, not realizing the downward spiral that follows that decision. The pain and suffering that comes out of addiction is something no drug addict wishes to endure, but the dependency they develop makes getting sober a hard choice to make. I chose to apply to this scholarship because Al's story spoke to me. His drive to help those who don't have the ability to help themselves is admirable, and I strive to live a life as dedicated as him to aiding in the recovery of those who've experienced a similar life to me. With the help of this scholarship, I will be able to break the cycle of generational failures in my family by attending a 4-year college and getting a degree. In addition, I will be equipped with the skills to aid in the success of other students who may be struggling with similar things. With the ultimate goal of getting a PhD, I plan on studying forensic psychology at Oregon State to understand why people commit crimes and have a deeper understanding on how to help and prevent criminal behavior. I plan on using this knowledge to improve our justice system and invest in preventative care systems to provide resources to those who are at risk of being involved in damaging behavior. I'm deeply grateful to have received this scholarship, not only because of the financial burden it's ridding me of, but because of the incentive behind it is something I deeply relate to, and I value the lesson that it provides. Thank you.
Greg, could you gotten a taller guy to be next to me? All right, so we are charged with introducing the names virtually of the students that are attending by Zoom. So I will start with Zane Akak.
Next up, Leif Blickenstaff.
Elliot Chelsla.
Destiny Cruz.
Kyle Ernst.
Avery Fleming.
Lila Hine.
Bella Hernandez.
Olivia Hutteman.
Sam Martin.
Sarah Mossa.
Cooper Nelson.
Emma Oxenhandler.
London Pendleton.
Elliot Polivoy.
Ray Brock Hallett.
Alexa Saxton.
Mason Torres Garcia.
And last, Evie West. All right, the next portion, and Luke's going to help me with this as well, is the in-person certificates. Could we please bring up Matthew Avalos?
If you guys don't mind waiting on stage so we can take a picture afterwards. Next up is Taylor Gates.
June Healy.
Next up is Elena Hayworth.
Did I get that right? Lily Knight.
Ayana Meta.
Dre Moore.
And last but not least, Tatum Wilson.
We actually have one more, Haley Rummel. Thanks for having us. Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, up next, we will be showing a quick video, just more about the scholarship and hearing more from some of our recipients. So please let me cue that up and we'll get started.
Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Welcome everybody. My name is Jordan Kent and I'm here to tell you about the story of a very special man, Al Forthan, and the Memorial Scholarship Fund that was set up in his name that will help the lives of the next generation. And Al's story begins here at the Volunteers of America building, Men's Residential Center in Portland, Oregon, where Al, like so many of the men that come through the doors here, are given a second chance to better their lives.
My name is Greg Stone, and my role here at VOA is I'm the program director of the Volunteers of America Men's Residential Center. The Volunteers of America is a nonprofit that's been around since 1896, so a little bit over 125 years now. And I've been working for them for 31 years. I had the honor and privilege of starting the Men's Residential Center back in 1990. We do everything from youth programs with childcare up to senior adult daycare programs. The program that I work with, we are a large residential alcohol and drug treatment program. We're funded and licensed through the state of Oregon, and we serve men who come out of the criminal justice system. So Al Forthan was a gentleman who grew up here in Northeast Portland. He was actually born in Vanport, and when it flooded, his family moved in over by Concordia University, and he basically went to Jeff, was a 1963 graduate, and was big into sports, but also, like, you know, many people who grew up in the neighborhood got involved in the lifestyle of drugs and crime. So Al spent about 25 years in that lifestyle, and he was, you know, one of those people that had a lot of charisma, a lot of charm, and was pretty good at that lifestyle of being in the game. He spent that 25 years as a heroin addict, major, you know, supplier of drugs and trafficking. And when he got clean, though, came into our program. We actually moved in here. We were in a temporary location while we went through conditional use. Moved here on April 30th, 1992, And Al had actually come into our program a week earlier. So he basically came back to his neighborhood that he grew up in and got clean after many other treatment failures and got clean for the first time in his life. And Al said, you know, basically this program, you know, he really credited it with his ability to change his life. And he said, you know, it was the first time in my life where I felt like I was treated like a human being and that people cared about me. It was the first client that I hired to work here in 1996. And he spent 10 years working with us and just was an amazing counselor, just had a heart of gold, tremendous love and passion to help people in recovery. You know, he just had this wonderful ability to connect with people. And the men just had, you know, tremendous respect for him. You know, obviously a person that had been there, you know, he was 9 times in prison and, you know, had transformed his life. And just his passion and commitment to help people was, you know, just, oh, it was a wonderful gift that he gave to people. He struggled with COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, and had real struggle breathing toward the end of his life. But he had this passion to keep working, and basically, you know, we had this big set of stairs. You have to get up to the, all the offices were up here on the 2nd floor. He would carry his breathing machine up the stairs. You know, he was committed till the end. And 3 days before he passed away, he was doing a 12-step meeting on his deathbed. Wow. You know, and it's like, what a testament, you know, just of his love and commitment to help people choose recovery. You know, and so I just had a deep love and respect for who he was, you know, just a wonderful man. And obviously get emotional about it, but so he passed away in 2006, but he had 14 years clean time. And I had the honor of speaking at his service. And yeah, I said basically he was the Michael Jordan of recovery, you know, it just touched so many people's lives in such a deep and profound way. You know, it's just a true gift to be a part of that, of, you know, being a small part of his journey.
Jesus wash away my troubles while I'm traveling here below.
Well, we're here in Greg's office, and you saw just the compassion and care that Greg has for his fellow man, and his relationship and friendship with Al was something that was really special. And when you think back on the way that they're looking to honor Al with this memorial scholarship, it's incredible to just see the difference it's made in the lives of others. So we're going to take an opportunity to hear from a handful of these scholarship recipients that have had to work so hard on their own just to overcome some adversity, a hand that they were dealt that they didn't get a chance to choose. And now with the aid of this scholarship, just that little bit of help, the difference it makes in their lives, the doors that it has opened. And when you see the lasting impact of Al Forthan and what he set forward with his way to help his fellow man, you'll see the huge and tremendous difference this scholarship can make in the lives of others.
Hi, my name is Samantha, and I am a nurse at OHSU Dornbecker. I always wanted to go to college. It's always been a goal of mine. I always wanted to play soccer in college, and so I always knew that to afford college, I was gonna have to work my way towards a scholarship. Actually, it was pretty therapeutic to be able to write everything out and go through this process. And I think some of the questions were about the history with my dad and his alcohol abuse and some of my other family members. So I just went into those stories and talked a little bit about my childhood growing up. So I say therapeutic because I think having an opportunity to share your story when it's something you've kept to yourself for most of your life, or that, you know, being involved in so many things in high school, I didn't share that side of me, and my struggle with some of those things with my family and how that impacted my home life. So it was therapeutic to be able to write that all out and then to meet other people through the process who were coming from similar situations or struggled with those things themselves. And so it just was really eye-opening to meet new people and identify with those people in a way that I didn't with some of my other close friends. And then once I realized that I won and that my dreams were gonna come true, and like I was definitely on path to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve, that just gave me confidence. It gave me reassurance that I can do whatever whatever I want to do with my life. It was just really also inspiring.
My name's Casey Raglione. I'm a global product manager at Adidas. Grew up in Portland, and I'm very thankful and blessed to still be here. So I was couch surfing at the time with a neighbor and just getting acclimated to that lifestyle. And now I'm thinking about what's next. What am I going to do? Figured college was the best opportunity for me. I felt like it was my only chance because of how I was raised, how I grew up. Drugs, alcohol. Parents were somewhat emotionally and physically abusive, and I just felt deep down that without college, I'd end up not necessarily in the same paths. I didn't want to end up like my family. I wanted to be different, but I also wanted to be proud of my life and make a difference and do more than just what my parents did growing up. For me, growing up, it was always like, I'm just like everybody else. I never really shared my story because I didn't feel like it was different from other kids at school. I always felt like everybody's dealing with these types of problems. And, finding help and assistance through mentors growing up, you start to realize that the way you grew up wasn't normal. It was vastly different from a lot of other people. So for me, is that turning point of getting kicked out of the house, finding some mentors, confiding in them, and then just learning that your story should be told, embrace it. And then there's people out there like the Forthan Scholarship that will help make your dreams a reality and assist you because they know and support those that have struggled growing up. It came down to instilling confidence in me, validating my story, believing in me, which growing up in a drug and alcohol abused home, I didn't have a lot of that. And to hear you won and we believe in you, here's your chance to go to college was extremely impactful. And it's something that I think about, especially life is hard. I deal with a lot of challenges, but I can't forget how blessed I am and the ability that the scholarship's given me going forward to keep trying to do better and make a difference where I can.
Okay, my name is Vinicia. I attend Portland State University full-time, and I'm studying pre-med, majoring in psychology, minoring in business, and I have a job full-time too. If I didn't have a scholarship, I for sure wouldn't think I could go to college because of the way my life was just set up at the time. I've always been working full-time like my whole life, and it started in high school. As soon as I was eligible to get a job, I was just working too much, so I couldn't show my high school academics that I was able to go to college. But Forthan was willing to hear a story that got me accepted to college. They gave me the money to go because other schools wasn't gonna really pay for it. Because when you're working full-time all the time, you have to make up that money that you don't have. But when Forthan gives you that money, you can take time off and just really focus on academics, because what people fail to realize is that school is a full-time job. So to work 2 full-time jobs in high school was, is kind of insane. I honestly would not be in this position without the Forthan Scholarship, because it was really the money. College is all about money. You can't go to college without money at all. So no, I wouldn't have, because then I wouldn't have somebody, to help me pay for my way to get in. Now that I'm in, I figured it out and I made excellent grades. It's way up there, it just really helps you get there. And if I never had the Forthan Scholarship, I wouldn't have gotten there in the first place because I would have been working full time.
Well, those are just some incredible stories and just a small sampling of the number of lives that have been changed because of the Forthan Memorial Scholarship. And now it's your opportunity to make a difference. We heard from Greg earlier the difference this scholarship fund has made since 2006. But now collectively we can come together and better more lives and give more of these young men and women a fair chance to open up doors in their lives. They've already had to overcome so much at such a young age, and you see just the incredible fortitude of these young individuals. The least we can do is to continue to give them a hand. So please check out the website below. You'll find more information on how you can donate. And let's continue to carry on the legacy that Forthan set forward of helping his fellow man. And we can all play a big role if we just play a small little part.
Hello, everyone. I'm nervous every time I speak. It doesn't get any better for me, but my name is Asianique Savage. In 2016, I received the Al Forthan Scholarship, where I was able to attend Grambling State University, where I obtained my bachelor's in psychology and sociology. I chose to double major. Woo! I'm like, that is hard, y'all. I am a Jefferson High School alumni and I'm an Oregonian. I grew up on 10th in Alberta. I was raised by my grandmother. And just hearing you all's stories, I first want to say congratulations for choosing higher education because not everyone has the means to do that. And like you all's story, my story is unique because it's mine and it didn't look like everyone else's story. When I was 6 years old, my mother was murdered here in Portland, Oregon. My grandmother took full custody of me and my brothers, and drug addiction was on both my mother's side and my father's side deeply. But the conversation was never something that was necessarily had. I just grew up going to NA meetings. That's how I learned the Serenity Prayer. I didn't know that that was not normal because that was my norm. And when it talks about impact, I would say, you know, the Al Forthan Scholarship, this is a visual representation of what it looks like for someone to give you an opportunity and for you to go to school and then for you to come back to your hometown or continue something else elsewhere based on the education that you received. I currently work for Oregon Alliance for Gun Safety. I do the Portland Metro gun violence prevention work, both city and statewide. I do advocacy work. I've also relaunched my grandmother's nonprofit called Senseless Violence Leads to Silence that service not only the houseless community, but it serves people who dealt directly and impacted with drug abuse and gun violence. And I didn't write anything down today, and I'm gonna be super brief, but I am 26, and I'm gonna let you all know that it does not get easier. Decision-making gets harder, especially when you're by yourself, when it's just you and other students. This is a new thing for everyone when you go off to college. You're with freshmen, everything is fun, but don't be afraid to stand your ground. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to let other people know, like, hey, maybe that should be your last drink, or maybe you shouldn't take that, or maybe you shouldn't buy something off the street because, you know, and no one really talks about what really goes on when you leave home and you go off to college and you're forced to make decisions. And, you know, sometimes your parents aren't able to answer the phone, or somebody may not be there to advocate for you on your behalf. So always know that it is okay to advocate for yourself and it is okay to not have all of the answers. My grandmother went all the way to Louisiana with me. She was the only person. I'm the first person in my family to go to college. It wasn't something that was talked about in my household. Higher education wasn't a thing. In my household, it was more so, you know, do not get pregnant and do something with your life outside of what you see us doing. And it sounds so harsh and so terrible, but that's my story. And I'm here to let you all know that whatever path you may take, you know, take pride in your story. Don't hide behind it. It took me a long time to not be afraid or embarrassed of where I came from because I do not look like my struggle. And many of you all do not look like your struggle. And by the grace of God, you know, I just want to say thank you to the Al Forthan Scholarship. Thank you for Tess for finding me. I was like up under a rock working, but it's an honor to be here and just to show face. And if any of you all ever see me out and about in the city, please do not be afraid to say hello. I feel like Al Forthan would love what's going on in this room. The diversity in this room is just amazing. And also you have created a community because now we're all linked together because we've all received a scholarship. So whenever you all need anything, I'll have some business cards. Feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Wow, it is really humbling to be up here and to hear how well-spoken Lily and Tatum, and that the story from Asianique is just, it hits home and it's sincere. And I hear them, how polished and amazing and bright and their whole future ahead of them. And I can't help but think of Al Forthan, where he was, his redemption story, and how Greg has kept that spirit alive. And every year I know Greg's going to make me cry, and I don't like it because I'm supposed to be a tough guy or tall or athletic or whatever. But every year coming up here, it's so rewarding, knowing and humbling and being a part of something that is so special, just keeping his legacy alive through all of the young individuals that have their whole future ahead of them and who have overcome many things, life situations, and can just be such a positive future impact once we're all gone. And that's what it means to be human, is to, you might not be perfect. People make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect, but to leave a place better than you found it, and to not be defined by your past. And that's why it's such an honor for me to be a part of this. And I personally have been going in to the Oregon State Penitentiary. This is my 20th year, and I've had extended family that have passed away from alcoholism, fentanyl, and it's just a very real issue. And I just love Al's story of redemption. And I'm asking you, if it touches your heart and you have the ability to support this scholarship and keep it moving, $500, Greg having a vision, to today with $1 million being given out is no small feat. And there's been lots of little efforts and people who have contributed along the way, and we're all in this together. And every single person deserves hope and redemption and a bright future. And if some of these stories touch you and you have the ability, I would just encourage you to support the scholarship, join me in supporting the scholarship. And I just want to say thank you so much for having me here. Good luck to this this class of recipients. Very impressed with you all. And I hope you take to heart some of the wise words that 26-year-old just came up and said, because she's got wisdom beyond her years. And I just want to say good luck to you. And I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Thank you.
All right, that concludes our evening tonight. Once again, just thank you all for joining tonight and coming together to celebrate these amazing students. We all really appreciate it. We have tons of food left, so please eat more. We have beverages as well, but thank you all once again for coming. Let's give one more round of applause for our recipients this tonight. We all hope you get home safely. And take some flowers home. We have some flowers on the table. So each recipient, please take home a flower or your favorite flower that you see in the room. And if you see any extras, please take it home or we'll plant them. Anyway, thank you all again. Please get home safely, have some more beverages and food, and we'll see you next year. Thank you so much.